Hello, folks. I was going to say good morning, but I don't know what time it will be when you're watching this, so I'll just say hello. Um, this is a little bonus video. I just had a brainstorm. I woke up thinking about some of the things related to NDEs, and many of us on this channel are cult survivors or people that have left religious control groups and other forms of control groups, and we've been seeking to recover from that and find a better way forward. And one of the interesting parts of this study for me was the whole NDE experience. I'm kind of emphasizing the way forward. Where do we go from here? Um, Rather than wanting to rehash the past too much. I know we need to rethink and go sometimes recover from trauma and think our way through and recover from what we've been through in the past. But for me, I've been out of the cult long enough to have really done a lot of studying and research and seeking a better way forward. And the whole NDE study kind of came from that, being that I'm a seeker spiritually, wanting to know the actual truth and remove myself from deception and false ways of thinking. And so for me, the NDE thing has become a big breakthrough in terms of what I think is actually the truth, cutting past all of the various kinds of big box religions and cults and other means of thinking that were offered by people out there. Uh, so today's, I may wander a little bit because I woke up and had this brainstorm and I want to kind of get it out there before I forget any of it. So I may be jumping around a little bit, but so when I think about the NDE experiences that we've researched, some of the big takeaways for me personally were simply an enormous relief to know that there actually is firsthand testimonies from people that have experienced these things and have come back with good news and very consistent good news and reporting back with actually quite overwhelming amount of very trippy information, but that is also giving me a great deal of peace of mind and freedom from worry and anxiety. I mean, those are some of the immediate takeaways for me personally. I have no fear of going over to the other side. It's better than it is here. And I feel like, yeah, we're here to learn. This is an education. So I don't feel the anxiety I used to have about wondering what this life is about or for, or why things in the world are crazy. It's a free will planet. It's a learning experience here. And there's a lot of craziness, but a lot of people come back from the other side with this assurance that it's okay. Everything's going according to plan. Everything's happening perfectly. Everybody's learning what they need to learn, and there's nothing to fear out of it. So that's a huge takeaway for me. But another takeaway that came to me this morning, because we all still struggle with issues, obviously, including me. And Free as an Eagle, my channel name is an aspiration because there's times I feel free as an eagle and I feel on top of the world and like I'm past these things. And there's other times where I get knocked flat and wonder what's wrong with me or whether I'll ever completely recover or understand from what we've all been through. And I think, I mean, even the Bible says, if you seek the truth, the truth will make you free. And I'm finding that to be true. If you really seek and don't quit and you open yourself up to knowing the real whole truth, I believe it's being supplied in bits and pieces from all different directions, from thinking things over to listening to inputs and just opening myself up to just consider and critically think about every type of input that there could be, in including this NDE thing. So anyway, this morning's breakthrough kind of came in an interesting way. I woke up very early and listened to a couple of more NDE type experiences, and then began to dawn on me. It just came very clear is how we have a whole spectrum of emotions, and on the other side, it seems like it's all on the positive side: love, unity, oneness, connectedness, bliss. People describe most of this as just being overwhelming love and acceptance and non-judgmental. And I'm like, and then, some people actually testify that have come out of harsh fear-based religious organizations and cults, that is the dark side. It's the negative side, that the fear is used to control. And a lot of the negative, condemning, fear-inducing religious teachings are designed to control people. And I was like, yeah, I kind of get that. A lot of churches do use fear and condemnation to control people and intimidate them. And I've told this story, but I'll make it brief here, is that, one of my best friends growing up would tell me how in the Catholic Church, there was a father so-and-so that would take the kids down in the basement and open the door to the furnace, point at the fire inside and say, well, if you don't believe in Jesus, if you don't do this and that, this is where you're going. And I mean, to me, that's quite intimidating and fear-producing, and a very evil way to get control of people. And I'm not saying all churches do these tactics, but the whole idea of the painting of a picture of a vengeful, wrathful, angry, vindictive God looking to punish people is very 100% diametrically opposite of the God that people describe coming back from NDEs. And I believe this God was invented as a way of controlling, manipulating people. And so branching out from there, what I feel like I was kind of taught this morning in whatever meditation and thinking about these videos came to me was simply that the negative emotion spectrum and the positive in different ways have been used to control people for a long time, basically throughout the ages. And I think most people going to churches and seeking the truth are good people that are seeking the truth and really want to do well, and they don't realize what they're entering into when they come under these dark teachings. They mean well, and then they get indoctrinated with false doctrine. And that can happen in cults or just religious churches, organizations, governments, political systems, everything. People that use the negative emotional spectrum prey on people through fear. And I feel like, when I was a kid, my mom had marionettes, these little wooden figures that you'd have this sort of T-shaped handle with strings going down, and you could control the movement of the marionettes and make them act and everything. And that was kind of fun when we were kids. And I sort of picture in my mind that, we're looked at by control people, control groups. The marionettes, they want to have us be the marionettes bobbing and dancing to their motions. And the strings, to me, are in most cases the negative emotions. They will use fear, guilt, condemnation, threats, punishment, negative things to keep us in line. Because if they can control us through fear, then they have total control over us. We can be manipulated. And to stretch that out a little bit is simply any negative emotions that we can be controlled by can make or break us in minutes. I've seen people just turn from happy to totally miserable in seconds, including myself, because of a bad thought, negative thought. A fear pops into your head, or you get some bad news on the phone, and it's so easy to just fall apart. So that's the dark side of it. But then the other side of it is almost more insidious with cults, because very often a cult will use positive emotions to deceive and manipulate. The most common being in cults is love bombing. They just put out what appears to be love, but it's superficial, and it's just a sense of everybody loves and accepts you, and it's warm and fuzzy, and you get drawn into this thing, and then they'll give you false peace, a false hope. Cults are very deceptive. I mean, salesmen use this kind of tactic, giving you a hope of you're going to be successful and beautiful and just terrific and happy and all kinds of groovy stuff if you buy this product, if you join our group, if you sign up here for a billion-year contract, say Scientology. I mean, cults will attract you with something that seems very positive and beautiful and nice, and that will last for a little while until you see through it. And then eventually you get drawn in, and then more and more control becomes exerted, and ultimately most cults appeal to the fear and the guilt and intimidation. There's just so many mind control tactics that are used. So I feel like the best way to oppose this and free yourself from the emotional control is understanding how this all works and realizing that the true, what I'll again use the word God for lack of a better term, of the actual world is a creative. I mean, I like to think, I mean, the love there is so overwhelming, and love, and I've always sensed this. I feel like, a lot of this kind of wisdom has been imparted to me just through a generalized lifelong search, is that love is really the creative energy, and that love and acceptance and a non-judgmental attitude will, that environment is kind of like a very good greenhouse, or better yet, a beautiful outdoor environment where things grow. You set up the right environment where people can grow. Even with my kids, I feel like my wife Marilyn and I have adopted this method of, we got out of big box churches, got out of a cult that we were in, and then began to realize that this terribly fear-based, suppressive uh, environment wasn't healthy for growth, where people are in fear and trying to please an angry God that's just judging and looking down on them with a magnifying glass, looking for faults. Somehow you've got to perfect yourself by eliminating all of your faults and sins. Just a very negative influence, a bad emphasis that just puts you in a dark, low, depressing, morbid place, which you don't grow there. It's like darkness. So on the opposite scale, we feel that love and acceptance, allowing people to express themselves, make some mistakes, and know they're accepted no matter what. And this is very healthy, and allows people to develop into what they're really meant to be. And as opposed to, say, North Korea, being micromanaged right down to how many grams of food you could eat and what you've got to do, and you've got to be marching in lockstep. And if you step out of line, you're going to be basically just snuffed out or crushed or in some way retaliated against. Entirely the opposite. So a couple of things to take away from this revelation sort of brainstorm that I had is simply this, is I believe that through the NDE movement and the general awakening, I feel like we're entering a period of awakening. And this is basically corroborated by a lot of the testimonies by people that have come back. It's not my idea, but I feel like we're at the edge of an awakening, that the more people understand how things really work in the spirit realm and in the actual reality of who of the creative God is, the more people understand that, the more of us become free from manipulation through negative emotions, deceptive positive emotions, and basically mind control. The more of us that are free from mind control and free from fear, when we're set free of fear of death, fear of the unknown, fear of retaliation, then the leaders and the forces that are out there to control us, they're going to be disempowered. I feel like a great awakening is underway now, which will strip, corrupt leadership and government and churches are going to be disempowered by the fact that at the grassroots level, more and more people are going to know and understand the truth. And when they do, we're going to be less vulnerable. We're going to be like, hey, I'm not afraid of death. I'm not afraid of the unknown here. And now that I know the truth, it's like I'm not going to go along with what isn't right. And I feel like even against, the cult, the Scientology church that's right now in the middle of a huge controversy because they're a huge cult. And there are a lot of cults out there. I'm just focusing on them because SPTV is kind of a big movement that Marilyn and I got involved in, that's against Scientology particularly, but we're against cults in general. And many of us in the SPTV world have come out of these cults, and we're looking to help other people get out and or prevent them from getting in. But I feel like wisdom and knowledge are the weapons. The best defense is to know the enemy's playbook and understand how they work, and know how to move yourself forward and becoming free of negative things that will tear you down and prevent you from having a better life. So anyway, I hope you find all of this interesting. And this was just something I wanted to share while it was in my head. I know if I let a couple hours go by, it's going to be harder to put it together. So anyway, I hope you found this interesting, and there may be a follow-up to this. I'm looking forward to doing some live streams, but right now my channel's small. I don't have a high viewership, and I don't want to put things out there to not have anyone watch them. So for now, I'm just trying to put up some good content to let you know where I'm coming from and invite you to kind of share your ideas. If you have comments, feel free to leave comments. I'm connecting with more people that are eager to talk and maybe do some interviews on live streams. So as we grow forward. If you enjoy what you're seeing here, then give me some feedback, and I will be happy to do what I can to include you in your comments. And I will announce when I feel that it's time to do a live stream and just open up the floor for some questions and interact with people. So thanks. Have a great day, and I'll hopefully talk to you again soon.